I've always kind of dabbled in creative areas. My whole life, I've loved color, I've been involved in photography. I would always look at scenes and say, oh, I just wish I could paint that. Oh, if only I could just paint that. But it just kind of never crossed my mind through my life that I could actually go and maybe learn to do that, or that I, was able to do that whatsoever. So a couple years ago, a few friends of mine and we were standing out by the New River, and we were having a picnic that day, and one of the friends wanted to go and do a class. And she wanted to do the class with John Bond over at the Art Mart. And she said, Kim, come and go with me. I immediately said, oh, no, I can't do that. I couldn't possibly do that. So anyway, she twisted my arm and I went to that first class. I started from square one. John had to show me everything, what brush to get, what paint. I mean, we started by mixing paints that day. I did my first color chart that day. So the minute I had that brush in my hand and I had that paint, it was just consuming. I knew that I had just found this great love. So my friend never went back with me, but I've continued to study with John. I've also taken workshops here and there. I'll go down to Raleigh. I've been to one in Asheville. I love it. It's all that I want to do. It truly is my passion. And I love plein air. I didn't start out doing that. I started out studio, and I still do quite a bit of studio, but I love being outdoors. And my philosophy as far as plein air painting, I'm not trying to get a masterpiece every time I go out. To me, it's a learning experience. I learn something every time, whether I go home with a painting that works or I go home and wipe that canvas off and go again another day. It's just a learning experience. I get to see those colors, I feel that breeze and that sun, and it's just kind of indescribable. It's a really great thing, and I still do studio work, and I just love it. Painting really is my passion, and I feel like I've been fortunate to find it at this point in life. I buy a lot of products at Chicos. I definitely do. It's a great resource here in Boone. And we're very, very fortunate in Boone to have Cheap Joe's. You'd be surprised at the places I've been that you cannot buy a tube of paint. It's like, how do they live? How do they get by? So we are really, really fortunate here in Boone. I have to say, love the high country. I love pathways. I tend to gravitate toward pathways because I like the way that shadow and that light play on that surface. I love painting in the mountains, but then I also have a love of the low country. I do quite a few marsh paintings, and that comes back from a time, 100 years ago when we took our family and lived aboard a sailboat, but that's a whole other story. But anyway, I've looked at a lot of marshes in my time. And so I love to go down to the coast, whether it's North Carolina, South Carolina, I've done Georgia. I love to paint marsh scenes, which is really kind of interesting that, I've got high country and low country, but I just have this true love of both. So I do have a website. I'd love for you to take a look at it. It's kimabernethy.com, and just make sure you spell Abernethy right or you won't get there. But just Google it, it'll come up. I've had that website for a little while now, and I try to keep it current. On my website, you can go and you can click on where it says newsletter. You can sign up for my newsletters, and I try to put out newsletters when I have new work or when I've got an exhibit going on. Anything new going on, I try to send out a newsletter periodically. So yeah, take a look at the website. I'm represented by the Cross North Fine Art Gallery, so you can go to their website, find me on there, or go out to Cross North. That is a beautiful property. They have gardens, there's a labyrinth, there's a coffee shop, the weaving room, and then a beautiful little gallery. So I feel very fortunate to be represented by them. I'm also represented by City Gallery in Galax, Virginia. My connection there is the New River over there. We go over there, we bike a lot, and we ride the trails, and I do a lot of painting by the New River. That's also one of my favorite places to be. And you know, like I say, I just want to learn. I want to keep learning. I think it's a great process. Just learn as much as I can and get better at what I do. Hopefully, in the near future, I will be offering some workshops. And my vision would be to have those workshops down on the banks of the New River. So, you know, keep a lookout on my website for those workshops. Hopefully they're going to be coming up. And I'd love to have you in my workshop. And I want to pass on what I've learned, and we can all learn lots more together, and we can just have a really, really good time painting. So, happy painting!